Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm going to talk about the Fire Deny Manhattan Mayhem 4, but I know this is kind of late, but I'll try to, incorporate some of the, recent ROH discussion and, about who should carry the company and all that stuff. I'll try to throw that in there, to make this a little bit more interesting, because, I know, a lot of people have reviewed the Fire Deny, and, yeah, I mean, it's been getting some really, really good reviews on YouTube, and it really is a great show. I mean, I think a lot of people were kind of shocked at how good it was, because usually in the past, right before the New York City shows, like they would just treat it like a house show, and sometimes it would just give you absolutely nothing. But this show definitely delivered above and beyond expectations. Really long show, 3.5 hours long. I think this is probably one of the longest Ring of Honor shows in like 3 or 4 years. So kind of shocked about the length of the show, but from Plymouth, Massachusetts, it was really good. So let's break it down. We have Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly. These guys opened up the show. A pretty average opener. It didn't really hold my interest. All the way through. It was decent for what it was. I mean, obviously you got Kyle O'Reilly in there. He obviously you know what to expect from him. He did some awesome rolling butterfly suplexes, and then Mark Briscoe countered some of them into a Northern Lights suplex. So I mean, just pretty good action. A good finish. A nice solid way to start the show. Not a spectacular opener, but a pretty your typical average ROH opener. That's pretty much all I could say about it. Next up, we have Steve Corino and Grizzly Redwood taking on the All Night Express. Obviously, a lot of people are saying that this might be the worst match on the show, which it might be. But this is pretty much one of the last times All Night Express got to play full heels, full blown heels, because they turned babyface the next night at Manhattan Mayhem 4. But yeah, the cool thing about this is the story. Steve Corino, obviously he's trying to, get everyone back on his side, or not get everyone back on his side, but, kind of prove to everyone that he's not an evil person. And, what better way to do that than to team up with the fun-loving Grizzly Redwood. But, no, even though they lost the match, Grizzly was still kind of pissed. And was still, really wasn't trusting Corino throughout the whole thing. So as the match ends, Corino's like shaking his head, thinking, what do I have to do? I can't even get Grizzly Redwood to trust me. So, Corino's like at the lowest of the low right now. So yeah, it's a really interesting storyline with Steve Corino trying to, work his way back up and, earn everyone's respect. So that was cool. Next up, we have Tommaso Ciampa from the Embassy taking on Adam Cole, which is really, really good. Adam Cole looked great as always. I thought he carried Ciampa to a great match, or a pretty decent match, not great. But yeah, Ciampa is, I haven't really been paying attention to him, because he's been around for a while, longer than I thought. He's been wrestling on the Indies over the last couple of years, and a lot of big, the ECWA tournament, the Super 8. I know he was in that, but also before that, he actually wrestled in some of the Dragon Gate opening fray matches. And even in Ring of Honor, I think he wrestled in a couple of dark matches from 2009. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on him yet. He looks like a dominant big man, but I'm not really sure if he could, fill the void for what a guy like Eric Stevens did a couple years ago. I thought Stevens was great for a big man actually when him and Strong were having those wars. Definitely, I don't know what Stevens did. Stevens definitely, went the other way, and I really feel like they need, that really big, along with Michael Elgin, just another dominant big man on the roster. But I don't know, he's got a decent finisher. He does a power bomb. He power bombs the guy right into his knees, which is a pretty innovative finish. But I would just like to see him paired up with Roderick or Eddie, if someone on his size level, and see how he does against them. Because so far, I just think the guy's kind of average. But yeah, don't get me wrong, this new Embassy is great though. Nana. The white dude from Houston, the goofy white dude, I think he really adds a lot to it. But the one that's really putting the stable over the top is Princess Mia, who's a really hot Asian girl. She's got breast implants. She's pretty thick. She's got a great body. I mean, she's really. I wouldn't say she's a beautiful woman, but she's sexy though. You don't have to be beautiful to be sexy. And on top of that, she's got a martial arts background, so she's pretty much a badass, and she really puts the stable over the top. I mean, she's great. So let's move on. We have Chris Hero versus that young knockout kid, Chris Hero, versus TJ Perkins. Now, before I get to this match, I totally agree. If you want to pick one guy that could go to WWE and is ready to feud with John Cena and to make some money with John Cena, Chris Hero is that guy. I just think Hero is the most well-rounded wrestler. I mean, in the video wire, every single week, the fucking guy knocks it out of the park every single time. So here, like, but, you know, if I was Ring of Honor, I wouldn't start pushing one guy above everyone like John Cena. I just wouldn't do that. But, you know, let me just get down to this match. Hero versus TJ Perkins, you know, great stuff. A lot of people had high expectations for this. It was a little bit on the short side, but, you know, Hero played a dominant, you know, bully here. It was really, you know, like usual. I mean, it's just vintage big man versus little man stuff. Whenever TJ was on the offensive end, you know, the crowd totally got behind him. You know, and while I'm on the subject of TJ Perkins, you know, Ring of Honor, why not just bring this guy in? This guy is great. You know, they you know, once you did give him enough time, him and Davey Richards had a match of the year candidate. You know, just give this guy some more time and bring him in more. You know, they're kind of having him in these extended squashes. Now, this wasn't really quite a squash match. It was still really, really good stuff. I just feel like his matches could be even better if they just got more time. But, yeah, Hero and Perkins, really, really good stuff. It wasn't the match of the night like some people were anticipating, but really loved it for the amount of time that it went. Next up, we had Eddie Edwards versus Michael Elgin. I was kind of disappointed by this. You know, Elgin didn't really, you know, impress me here as much as the matches he had with El Generico. I feel like, you know, the matches with Generico, he really came across like, you know, a super, you know, powerful wrestler, you know, a dominant big man. You know, he did some awesome power moves to Generico. Here, this match is really more about Eddie Edwards. It was really to give him some nice momentum heading into his title shot, and it worked out good. You know, really good stuff. You know, Edwards was actually almost counted out. Pretty good drama, and then there was actually a time when he got Truth Martini and Michael Elgin in a, you know, he did a double half crab to both of them. I thought that came up really nice. So yeah, a nice friendly victory for Edwards. Really, you know, really thought he needed a big win heading into his title shot against Roderick Strong. So that's pretty much what it was. Next up, we have Christopher Daniels versus Mike Bennett, the Prodigy Mike Bennett, and for the ROH TV title. You know, some people are calling this a snooze fest. I know Sean Carlos and Zero said this is kind of like watching grass grow. I wouldn't go that far, but you know, Daniels had a rough night. There was 3 people from YouTube in the crowd that were actually you know, heckling him. They were calling him fallen talent. They were saying Daniels sucks. I'm not so sure if that was strictly because of the TNA decision, the fact that he went back to TNA, which really doesn't make a difference. As long as he's in Ring of Honor, you can't call him a sellout. I don't see how that makes a difference at all. It seems like he's even more committed than ROH than TNA, because, you know, the effort in ROH has been very good. But to Daniel's defense, this is kind of a slow match. He really applied the headlock to slow Mike Bennett down. You know, Mike Bennett's offense was kind of sluggish. I mean, just I'm just not impressed by this guy. He just, you know, he's kind of reminiscent of Chris Masters. I would say he's like the Chris Masters of ROH. I've always hated Chris Masters, even though maybe he's improved. I'm not really sure. But, you know, to Christopher Daniels' defense, I'm going to say this. You know, if I was 40 years old and if I had neck problems and back problems, would it really be smart to bust my ass and to, you know, put my body on the line against, you know, this Prodigy Mike Bennett guy right before the New York City show, where there's going to be even more bloodthirsty ROH fans? You know, probably not. So, you know, I could totally understand it, but it wasn't a bad match at all. I thought there was some good things in it. I thought Daniels looked really good. You know, the story of the match is Daniels was pretty much trying to say that he was like one step ahead of Mike Bennett, and you know, Steve Corino actually came out and helped Daniels win the match. So I thought it was. I mean, it was average. It's kind of boring, actually. It's not something we're going to remember for any time soon. So that's pretty much what it is. All right, let's move on to Claudio Castagnoli versus Davey Richards. Special attraction match, Kings versus Wolves. Now, the last time they were in Plymouth, you had, you know, Kings Wrestling versus American Wolves. So this was a nice way to kind of follow up on that. And, you know, this is the best match that they've had, you know, in my opinion. I think this is even just a little bit better than their match from Final Countdown Tour Dayton. I'm not so sure if I'm accurate about that. If you guys can remember that match, let me know what you think. But I thought this came off even better than that. Better finish. Just really, really great stuff here. I mean, it's just such an interesting matchup because Claudio is like almost a foot taller than Davey. You know, like the spot of the match for me was, you know, Claudio was going for the Ricola bomb. Davey tried to counter into an ankle lock, but Claudio saw that coming, so he just German suplexed Davey. He did a German to him, so he pretty much suplexed him the opposite way. I thought that was awesome. You know, it's just really exciting stuff here. Like the last couple minutes, the crowd was just on their feet. And the ending to the match just shocked the shit out of me. I couldn't believe it, but it came off great, though. I'm going to say 4 stars, solid 4 stars. Next up, we have the Fire Deny Elimination match. We have Roderick Strong, El Generico, Homicide, and Jay Briscoe. You know, Roderick has been feuding with all these guys over the last couple months, and if Roderick actually wins this match, then he doesn't have to give any of these guys a title shot anytime soon. But if one of these guys does win the match, then they get a guaranteed title shot at Honor Takes Center Stage Chapter 2. So a lot was at stake, and I love this concept. You know, in the past when Adam Pearce was booking some of these B or C shows, you would just get some bullshit, you know, house show tag match like Austin Aries and Brett Titus versus Delirious and Tyler Black. And, you know, like, or sometimes just a bullshit non-title match that meant absolutely nothing. But, you know, I thought this really had a lot of meaning to it. I thought it was an innovative concept, something different. And the match delivered, though. It was kind of long. You know, like I said, the show was really long. So a lot of the fans started fading out, especially towards the end. But it was still great, though. After Homicide looked good, though. But after he got eliminated, I thought this was really awesome. They did some awesome, you know, double suplex spots. There was like I guess it was like a T-bone and then a German. All guys got suplexed together. That was great stuff. Jay Briscoe and Roderick, those guys have great chemistry together. I would just love to see more of them in the future. But they're just incredibly stiff with each other. And then it came down to Roderick and Generico. You know, great stuff between them. You know, Generico was definitely playing a great underdog. And I like the finish because it didn't make Generico look weak. You know, the one thing about this, if you knew the result of this match, you might have been a little bit, you know, curious that Eddie Edwards might win the match at Mayhem 4, because I don't think anyone in the right mind thought Eddie was winning. But if you knew that Roderick eliminated all these guys, I mean, it definitely made sense for Eddie to win, because obviously you need to have a main event at Honor Takes Center Stage Chapter 2. So that's the fire tonight. I thought the show was really good, so don't sleep on it. It definitely deserved a full review because it was a long show, and I thought it was it definitely, you know, surpassed expectations. All right, so let me talk about Mayhem 4. You know, the DVD just came out, and I'm going to say that it's, I don't know, like, the one thing about, I don't really think it came off that great on DVD compared to the live experience. Like, the only problem with the show was El Generico and TJ Perkins. I really thought this should have got more time. You know, I thought Steve Corino and Mike Bennett really put the crowd to sleep. It wasn't a bad match, but I feel like, you know, it went a little bit too long, and Generico and Perkins, I think Generico and Perkins should have opened up the show and got like 15 to 18 minutes. I thought that would have been, you know, just awesome. So that's the only thing I would have changed. You know, Kings of Wrestling versus LAX, I just didn't think it was as good as some other people thought. I think it was fun and everything like that, but it's just, you know, Hernandez and Homicide, they're just not my cup of tea right now. And I thought Hero was kind of, you know, running away from Hernandez. I just didn't like some of the things that he did in the match. You know, Davey and Daniels, awesome Pure Rules match. The Pure Rules stipulation with the rope breaks and everything, I thought that definitely, you know, added a lot to the match. Even, I don't know, the Davey fucking up the Shooting Star. I don't know what happened there, but, you know, still excellent stuff between those two guys. I'm going to give it 4.25. And like I said, I think Roger Strong versus Eddie Edwards, I think that's the match of the year. I thought it was a great decision to give Eddie the belt. You know, it definitely a great moment. Roderick Strong, let me say this, he had a great title reign. A lot of his matches overachieved. You know, I mean, they didn't give him great opponents. They kind of gave him, you know, upper mid-carders to feud with. But I thought all those matches definitely, you know, were epic wars, actually. And he definitely improved on the mic. Like, if you look at where he was on the mic a year ago to now, he's definitely improved a lot. I would say he's probably one of the better mic workers in ROH right now. Maybe I wouldn't say that, but I think he's got a lot better, though. So give him credit. And so Eddie and Davey at Best in the World, really excited for it. I don't know, like, you know, Eddie is so good, though. Would you really want him to lose the belt? I mean, the fucking guy is great. I know some people are saying that he just, you know, why is he the champion? I think that was a brilliant move. And but, you know, I feel like you really have to capitalize on him winning the belt. And I feel like you need to turn Davey heel. I really feel like Davey needs to be a heel. I really do. And it's not just because, you know, he's amazing as a heel, which I think he is. I just think he's a natural heel. You know, he's like that guy that, you know, you see him and you're just like, wow, this guy really wants to kick your fucking ass. Like, he's definitely that guy. But, you know, it's not so much the, you know, him being a heel. It's the actual turn that I want to see. I just think, you know, Davey just has, you know, we've seen it in the past. I'm talking about the thing he did with Bryan Danielson and Dragon Gate. If you guys can remember Dragon Gate Untouchable, when Danielson actually said Davey's the best in the world, and then Davey just shitted on him and kicked him right in the stomach, right in the chest. I just thought that was so well done. I would just like to see something like that, you know, like an epic heel turn with Davey turning on Eddie. Eddie can't be the heel. I'm sorry, but Eddie is not believable as a heel. He's too nice of a guy. He's too popular. He's too much of an underdog. I don't think anyone wants to root against Eddie Edwards. I don't know. I don't really think you need a clear-cut babyface and a clear-cut heel, though. But if one guy's got to play that role, I say Davey's got to do it, though. And as far and I understand what a lot of you guys are saying. If Davey doesn't win the belt at Best in the World, then it's kind of ridiculous. It's like they built him up against Tyler, built him up against Roderick, and now they're going to have him go 0 for 3 against Eddie. It's kind of it'd be kind